Welcome to Create Your Vibrant Life podcast. This is your host, Padma Ali. This is episode 36. Working hard will not make you rich. Because if it did, you would already be rich, wouldn't you? So in today's episode, you will discover a radical concept that honestly took me a long time to wrap my head around. And that is, money does not come from hard work. And if you're wondering where it comes from then, well, tune in and listen up now and be ready to get your mind blown. And by the way, this is not just for people who are having money issues. My goal is to provide you with information and concepts that shed old beliefs. You may or may not have realized in your life that everything that you are right now are just stories and beliefs you've told yourself about the past and about your life. And in order to shift that, we need to change our stories, don't we? And that's what these episodes are about. And you can apply these same concepts to anything else. But I'm particularly focusing on money for a reason, and I'll go into that in a little bit. So thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Create Your Vibrant Life podcast, where you can create the life you desire by tapping into your inner wisdom. I'm your host, Padma Ali. I'm widely known in the field of psychology as helping create long-lasting transformation. And now I'm here to help you create the life you desire using the combination of neuropsychology and ancient healing practices. This podcast is for you overachievers who are ready to unlock your highest potential so you can live the life of your dreams without the hustle. I'm here to guide you through a process of self-discovery to be the creator of your destiny. You can have that fulfilling career, that relationship, the abundance, all by taking aligned actions simply by tapping into the power of your brain, your inner wisdom, and ancient practices. So tune in, folks. I am so delighted you're here. Hello, visionaries. How are you all? So before we get started, I wanted to make a super quick announcement that anyone who has contacted me to explore one-on-one coaching, all my slots for 2020 are full at this point. So you're welcome to get on my wait list for 2021 and just email support at Padma Ali and my team will take care of you. I just wanted to make that announcement because I know I had talked about anyone wanting to start working with me to contact me. I had one slot open and that's filled up. Anyways, back to today's topic. Working hard will not make you rich. See, there's a reason I'm doing these money podcast episodes at this point. I see so many people struggling with money. Did you know that 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? They don't have any extra cash, which means if there's anything that comes up, they're pretty much stranded. And that's really sad. And what I've realized and what I've seen and observed and all the research I've done, it points into one direction. There's a lot of stories people hold around money. If you haven't listened to my previous episode on money, I would highly recommend that you do that because, again, bring in different concepts, different ways of thinking about money, which is money is nothing but energy. And it's an energy exchange, which then, for some reason, has gotten so much weight attached to it, so many stories attached to it, so many identities attached to it, and those no longer serve us. So my goal in bringing you these episodes specifically around money is to make it an easy conversation, is to approach it from all angles. Today, we're going to be talking about the spiritual side of money. And next week, I have an amazing guest speaker. His name is Eric Dodds, who's a financial planner. And he's somebody that my husband and I worked with, are currently working with as well. But I seriously love him. He's so amazing, but he's bringing a very practical side to money as well. And this is my desire and my intention in bringing these episodes to you, balancing both the spiritual side, being this bridge between spirituality and the 3D world that we live in, the physical world that we live in. And both, to me, are vital and important. And these are some of the core principles of which I do my work, which is neuropsychology and energy healing and wisdom, because they're both on the spiritual side. To me, life cannot exist one without the other. You need the practicality and you need the spirituality. And spirituality is not religion. I just want to make it very clear. There's no dogma to spirituality. In fact, there is absolutely no religion that we follow in our home. I grew up Hindu. I'm digressing here for just a second, but this is all on topic. I grew up raised Hindu, and my husband grew up being raised Muslim, and neither of us follow any religion at this point. We just don't. We follow more living by the laws of the universe, the laws of spirituality, which is being loving, kind human beings. And that's what we want our children to grow up as well. And money, to me, is also very spiritual, because when you have money, I am of the 100% belief that when money in the hands of good people does amazing things on the planet. And you can look around. There's so many philanthropists that do amazing work because they have money. Unfortunately or fortunately, well, I can't judge that. Money is the currency which speaks at this point. And if you see, money is nothing but digital numbers in your account. Like who sees the physical currency, right? Like whatever you see in your bank is just all numbers on an electronic form. So whatever it is, we've given it a lot of weight. And this is what speaks in our world today. And this is what helps us help people. And this is the reason I do the work I do as well. So, all right. So what I'm going to invite you to do is come in with an open mind and listen to this with absolute, just letting go of past beliefs, anything you've learned about money, just letting go of that and just hearing this from a fresh, new perspective. It's as though you're seeing something for the first time. You know, like babies, when they first learn when they're looking around and they're absorbing everything, it's like this bright eyes. They're looking at everything. Everything is with wonder and curiosity. And that's the place I'm inviting you to come in with as you're listening to this. And I'm going to propose some questions that I'm inviting you to ponder, because again, the more you bring in your own diving deep and understanding what are you holding on to? What beliefs are you holding on to? What stories are you holding on to? And are those beliefs and stories serving you at this time? So let me ask you this. How many of you grew up with the belief that hard work will make you money? Well, I grew up in India. And the laborers there work really, really, really hard. And let me tell you this, they're not rich. They're not. So, but this is the belief that we've all had. I had this belief for the longest time. I used to work really hard, not for, I love what I do. And I no longer work hard. I work because I love to work. I no longer work for money. But in the past, I have, because there was scarcity and there was fear. But the scarcity and fear came from survival parts of me, not really based on reality. Because on the surface, I've always lived a comfortable life. But these survival pieces would keep creeping up. And I bet for you, if you are struggling with money, if you're fearful of not having enough, if there's any sense of lack, it's coming from survival parts. Meaning the parts of you that are fearful of, they're based or rooted in survival, not in reality, not in your current life. Because if you're listening to this, chances most likely you have enough. You live a comfortable life. Yes, you could always use more. Maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you're living more than paycheck to paycheck. Whatever it is, you're not struggling with money. That much I can guarantee you that. And again, in these episodes, what I'm inviting you to do, I literally want to hold up a mirror and have you look inside, because whatever you see on the outside is a manifestation of what's happening on the inside. How you feel, how you believe, what the stories you tell yourself is what is being manifested on the outside, not just with money, but with everything in your life. So in this episode, I am going to give you some steps on attracting wealth into your life. Not just, I didn't use the word money. I used the word wealth for a reason. Prosperity, wealth, abundance goes beyond just money. It is about a way of being, a way of living, a way of tapping into that inner abundance at all times. And there are plenty of law of attraction stuff out there. This is not that. I'm not going to go into any of that. Those things are amazing. You can go look them up on your own, but this is not what that is. So just come in with an open mind, and you will discover how easy it is to attract wealth into your life when you can start to make these shifts inside. Okay, so in last week's episode, we talked about money, which is tied to your self-worth and self-esteem. And this is what I was saying a few seconds ago about how the way you look at yourself, like whatever is on the outside is a manifestation of what's happening on the inside. And again, I'm addressing all of these things from a very high level, from a bird's eye perspective. I'm not going into too many details because I just want to give you an overview that you can then take and run with. So the first question I have for you, what are your beliefs about money? What are your stories about money? And where do you think money comes from? 9 out of 10 people will tell me that money comes from my job. Money comes from the work I do. Money comes from what I put out into the world. Well, let me tell you this. That is a vehicle for money to come in, but that is not responsible for the money to come in. Let me explain. You may have a belief that you have to work hard to get a paycheck. You have to work hard to have money come into your life. What you do in the world, the work you do, in quotes, is a vehicle for the money to come in. It is not the only reason money comes in. And as you listen to this episode, it'll become obvious to you that your job is just a source, one channel for money to come in. It's not the only channel. It's not the reason money comes in. It'll become clear as you listen further. So if money does not come from work, where does it come from? Well, here is the shortest answer to that. Money comes from your consciousness. Money comes from your inner state. Money comes from the universe. Your consciousness, your inner state of being is what I consider the universe. It's coming from that inner state of peace and your identity about money. So just for a second, just imagine this. You may still be like, what are you talking about, lady? If you're doing that, that's totally okay. Just stay with me, and it'll become more and more clear. Just for a second, imagine this, that money and work are separate pieces in your life. There's money. It's almost like you have two pieces of, you have, it's like you have different. In one hand, you can hold money. On one hand, you hold your work. Just for right now. Just imagine that for a second. Now, I want you to think back in your life. And think back to times where someone just handed you a gift. Someone just said, hey, it's your birthday. Here's some cash for you. This is my birthday gift to you. Or someone said, someone said, oh, you know what? This is the kind of work you do. I know someone who could really benefit from what you're doing. I'm going to refer them to you, and that client just falls into your lap. Or someone says, you know what? I think you'd be so good for this job, and I'm going to refer you to that job. I know someone in that company. And you may be like, wait, you just said money does not come from work. Well, did you hear the sentence before that, where I said, your work is a channel for money to come in. It's not the reason money comes in. These are things that have fallen into your lap without you doing anything. You did nothing, and these things have shown up into your life. Okay? See, most of my listeners, most of my clients have jobs. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not they don't have their own company. They maybe they do, maybe they don't. But here's the thing. When you have your own business, for example, there's literally no cap in the income, right? Like whatever comes in. Like you can attract immense amount of wealth. And again, if you notice, I use the word attract. I didn't say the word make. I said attract because money is attracted to you because of your consciousness, because of your state of being. And so you may be thinking, like, how do I attract more money if I have a job where there's an income cap, right? You might be like, okay, I can only make so much in my job. And I totally get that. See, even when I was doing my therapy job, right? Like when I was a therapist, full-time therapist, there's only so much I can charge per client. That's just the therapy standards, right? There's not I can't do more than that. And that's the cap for it. But money was still attracted into my life in ways that were incomprehensible to me. And this is when I did not wrap my head around money. It does not come from work. And I was very attached to the idea that money does come from how much hours I put in, how much work I do on the outside. It equals to the amount of money I receive. But even if you just have a job, or even if you have a profession where there's a cap in income, maybe you received a bonus, an unexpected bonus. Maybe the stock investments that you had suddenly, like you made tons of profit with that. See, my husband has a job. He doesn't work for himself. He has a job. But we attract plenty of money to us because we have other sources through which it comes in. But those are just vehicles. Those are not the reason why money comes in. Those are just vehicles. The vehicle is the channel for the money to flow in because of how you feel on the inside. Money comes from their state of consciousness. Money comes from your state of well-being on the inside. And being repetitive, because the repetition is how we learn. Think about back in school, right? I see my kids like repeating the same thing over and over and over again. This is how we learn. So that's why I'm repeating this over and over again. You may have heard me reference this book, Abundance, in the past episode. And in that book, there's a 40-day prosperity plan, which I love this book. It's such a tiny book, so amazing. It does make reference to God. You can substitute that for universe. And, I don't care about those things. It doesn't bother me. I'm not attached to any words. Words don't mean anything other than the meaning we give it. So the word God doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. And if it does, just substitute that for universe. So in the Abundance book, there's a 40-day prosperity plan, which is just incredible. In that, there is one quote that really stood out to me, which just reinforces what I've been telling you guys right now. Money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine mind is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited. Just grasp that for a minute. I'm actually going to read that again to you. And as I read it, if you are not driving, I invite you to just close your eyes, taking a deep breath, just letting these words just sink into your soul. Just let it just sink in. Money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine mind is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited, therefore my supply is unlimited. This is one of my favorite quotes in that whole 40-day prosperity plan. It just takes the pressure off, right? Because there are so many of you who are sitting paycheck to paycheck, not knowing where the next thing is going to come from. And if you just took your feet off the worry pedal, if you just took your feet off of the constant anxiety about money pedal, and leaned into the fact that all you need to do is tap into the abundance on the inside and use your vehicle. Your vehicle is important. Whatever you have as a vehicle is important because those are the channels through which it comes in. I mean, I often use this analogy of a hose. One side of the hose is attached to a pipe through which copious amounts of water comes in, and the other side is watering the plants. And if you open up the tap from there and let the water flow, it's going to flow abundantly, right? But what if you were standing on the pipe? The tap is turned on, but you're standing on that pipe. The water is not going to flow on the other side, or maybe there'll just be a trickle of water, wouldn't it? And that's exactly what happens when you worry, when you get anxious, when you get fearful that you won't have enough, when you are thinking about lack, you're literally cutting off the supply from the source. Not only that, if you're like, I'm just going to sit in a cave and just feel good and own my way out, that's going to cut off the supply either as well, because you need a vehicle for this money and for this wealth to come in, whatever that form is. Whether it's your job, whether it's your business, whether it's your stocks, whether it is other forms of investment like real estate, whatever it is, you need to have some vehicle open so that the money can flow in. And I'm really inviting you to start looking at it from that place. All you need to do, and I'm going to give you 5 steps to attract massive amounts of wealth in your life. And when you can really grasp these 5 steps, it's going to literally shift how you allow money to come in. And here's the other piece. You also need to be, which I'm going to be talking about. This is one of the reasons why I'm having other guests speak as well, like the financial planner who's going to be here next week in our episode. He's talking very practically about money, and we need that as well, because we need to be good stewards of our money as well, right? And so this is the place where you can allow money to work for you when you respect and have reverence for money. It will start to grow. When I was growing up, there used to be in India, if you've ever been to India or if you followed the Indian culture, there are lots of what is that called? Like festivals or religious, there are a lot of things there are a lot of pray. Obviously, there are a lot of different gods and you pray to different gods and all that is there. I'm talking specifically about Hinduism. By the way, if you don't know anything about India, India has multiple different religions, not just Hinduism. But there used to be a day where it was a national holiday, if I remember correctly, where everybody would worship their vehicles, like their they would worship vehicles, they would worship. So if you owned a printing company, then you would worship. Not worship is not the right word. You would they would do some kind of puja. Puja is like a prayer for the print. Oh my God, I'm tripping over my own words. So bear with me while this just came into my consciousness. I'm literally letting this information flow through. And there's a reason I'm bringing this up as well. So there's a day, let me backtrack. I don't edit these podcast episodes. It's just me. So if it offends you, then you're offending yourself. If you can stay with this, fabulous. If not, no worries. Do whatever works for you. So there's a day that I remember that they would celebrate. Okay, celebration is probably the right word. There's like a puja that you do, and you celebrate vehicles, you celebrate all the machinery. If you own a factory, you celebrate the machinery. You do this prayer for these things. And I found that very fascinating. When I was growing up, I was a big rebel, so I would often poo-poo these things. But as I have taken a step away from that, I see the value, because there's a reverence for everything that you have. There's a celebration. I'm honoring what I have in my life. And if you do not honor money, how will it stay with you? Right? And this is one of the reasons I'm having the practical aspects in these episodes as well, because it allows you a place to honor the wealth that's coming in, so you can allow it to grow and then use that again to help people, which we'll be talking a lot about in the next 5 steps. All right. That was a little off topic, but on topic conversation. Let's talk about the 5 steps to attract massive amounts of wealth into your life. And guys, when I learned this from my teachers, and this is a compilation of different things that I have learned. This is not from one person. This is just like different things I've absorbed over time. And this is what I put into play in my own life. And I am sharing that with you so you can also grow and evolve with this. And I will attach the books that I've used as references in the show notes so you can go ahead and also look them up. So the first one, which I already referenced to earlier on, is your emotional connection with money. Feelings. Your feelings make a huge difference. And why is that important? You have heard me talk about in other episodes, everything has a vibration and a frequency to it, as does emotions, as does words. So when you feel worried, anxious, frustrated, angry about money, that is the energy you're putting out. And that's what is reflected back to you. Think about it. Like if you're constantly, say you have a partner and you are like, I don't trust you. I don't trust that you'll come back. I'm angry at you. I'm worried that you will betray me. You will never come back. Any of those things. Do you think that your partner is going to be happy in the relationship and stay with you? Well, that's what you're putting out there, isn't it? And trust me, guys, I've been there. I have been there. I never used to trust that money would flow back. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give generously and it's going to come back amazingly in amazing quantities. This is my attitude now, because money is a means to an end to create good things in life. That's my attitude at this point. So, but I understand if you are worried about money, if there's a state of like, oh my God, how am I going to pay my next bill? Like you look at your bank account and you get worried and you're anxious. That is what you're putting out there. And the key is to stop that. If you have followed Abraham Hicks, if you go to YouTube and Abraham Hicks, just type in Abraham and it'll show up. Bunch of videos and all that will show up on YouTube. So Abraham says, you don't even have to stop talking about prosperity. You just have to stop talking about lack. Well, I butchered that. You don't even have to start talking about prosperity, not stop. You don't have to stop. Sorry, let me backtrack. You don't have to start talking about prosperity. You just have to stop talking about lack. That's the key. See, thoughts create emotions. Emotions create vibration. Vibrations create frequency. And that is what comes back to you. It's literally like a boomerang, it just comes right back. When you throw it out there, it comes back. That's the laws of the universe. That's exactly what happens. So the place that's the best place to be in, especially about money, is at a state of peace and well-being. Complete, utter peace and well-being. I was reminded, whenever I think about inner peace, right? Inner peace. Have you watched Kung Fu Panda? You can tell I have young kids, right? Like you get obsessed about these movies, these animated movies. So in Kung Fu Panda annoys the heck out of his Master Shifu. Master Shifu is like trying to meditate. He's like standing, and Kung Fu Panda comes and, he's being his very brash, obnoxious, cute self. And I find him super cute. And Master Shifu says, inner peace, inner peace, inner peace. It's really cute. You can look that movie up. It's so cute. I love that. That phrase, inner peace, just stood out for me. So that's the place I'm inviting you to just be in inner peace. And that's why a lot of the Eastern philosophies stress so much on being peaceful. Buddha talks so much about that, right? Like being at peace at all times. When you are in a state of peace, you can do so much more in life. And it's a daily practice. Honestly, like this morning, I got annoyed with my husband. Like it happens. These things will happen. But the more you can get back into the state of being at peace, that's the best place to live in. I'm not saying these things don't happen, but the more awareness you have, like how can I stay in a state of peace at all times? All right. The second step is prosperity consciousness. How do you feel about money? That is your prosperity consciousness. Do you value it? We talked about that before. And if you think money is the root of all evil, what does that say about your prosperity consciousness? And guess what? If you feel like money is the root of all evil, then you're repelling money. I don't think you're doing that because you wouldn't be listening to me, honestly. If you were in that mindset, you probably won't even get attracted to what I'm saying here. Well, if you thought of money, like I said before, as a partner, and you tell your partner, you're evil, I don't trust you, right? That's what you'll be putting out there about money too. So work on your prosperity consciousness. Feel prosperous on the inside. And see, for me, prosperity goes beyond money. Like for me, it's like when I drop in, right? Like when I tune into where I feel the prosperity consciousness in my system, it's the state of peace in my heart. There's a lot of love and gratitude. And it's not just about money. It's about everything that I have going in my life. Everything. The water I drink, the food that I get to eat, the home we live in, the neighborhood that we live, everything for me is prosperity consciousness. Like that's where I feel it, right? And that's what I'm inviting you to do. It goes beyond money. Like where do you feel that sense of, wow, I'm prosperous in your system? That's what you want to keep leaning into. And that segues into the third step, which is gratitude. Are you grateful? And not just grateful for money, but grateful for your life, grateful for everything that sustains you, grateful for air, grateful for water, grateful for everything that's happening in your life. Gratitude, whenever there's gratitude, right? You can't feel anything else. You can't. I know Oprah talks about it. Gratitude is the attitude. So many of these philosophers and teachers talk about gratitude. And it's not just gratitude that you say, thank you, but it's feeling it in your system. I'll give you a funny story. So as I'm learning, these are things, I am no different than you, maybe walking a few steps ahead. These are things that I have also had to put into practice. If you are one of my clients, you'll know I've shown you this. I have sticky notes everywhere in my house around just reminding me to be in alignment. And this is how I keep my awareness on the things that I have to do. And gratitude is one of them. And so as I'm mastering gratitude, one day, I was taking out the garbage. I was taking out the garbage bins to put them on the sidewalk for the next day was garbage day. And as I'm putting it out, I'm like saying, thank you, garbage bins. And then I caught myself and I started laughing. I was like, this is fabulous. This is amazing. Now I've really internalized it so much that I can say thank you to garbage. And it is so true. Oh my God. Like, think about it. Like, think about the garbage, the people who take the garbage out for you. Think about the garbage trucks. Think about your own garbage. Like, these are things that are waste in your house that someone is taking away so that you can live in a clean space. And I burst out laughing. I was laughing on the street, like trying to put away the garbage and put out the garbage bins. But it was so amazing to feel that level of gratitude. And it's a great feeling. It's an amazing feling. When I was growing up, my dad would always say this. He's no more. He passed on. And he would say, when you get up from your bed and you put your feet on the ground, say thank you to Mother Earth. And obviously, as a child, I never really paid attention to those things. That's what you do as children. But as I've grown up, I was like, oh my goodness, how much wisdom in that. So I do it every single day. When I put my feet down on the ground, I'm like saying, thank you, Mother Earth, for supporting us, for being here, for this house, for everything. And having gratitude for your body, having gratitude for your eyesight, having gratitude for your heart, having gratitude for hearing, for seeing. Amazing, isn't it? These are miracles. These are magical when you can really start to see, wow, I have so much to be grateful for. Things shift very quickly. There's no room for lack, is there? I'm just going to let that settle in. So the fourth one is self-worth, which I covered in last week's episode. Please listen to that as well. And by the way, if you haven't listened to the past episodes, I would really invite you to go and start listening from episode number 1 because it's so valuable. They don't build on each other, but there's a lot of continuity you will see and themes you will start to recognize and notice. So where does self-worth come when it comes to attracting wealth? So self-worth means valuing yourself. When you value yourself, other people will start to value you. When you don't value yourself, you are kinking off the supply. Think about the hose again, right? When you don't value yourself, you're being self-critical. You are saying, I'm not good enough. I'm this, I'm that, being critical. It's like literally that is the low vibration. It's cutting off the supply. And when you don't value yourself, your vehicles will get cut off as well. You won't be receiving, you won't receive. And how I know this is because I used to be the kind of person who said, I love what I do. I'm not going to get paid for this. Meaning, receiving money felt odd or uncomfortable because I was like, I love what I do. I don't want to receive money for this. And here's the other piece I had to really work through. Again, if you're one of my clients, you've heard me talk about this. I can take no credit for what's happening for my clients. I'm literally like a divine channel. I'm a channel for whatever needs to come through me for that person. So I used to feel uncomfortable accepting money. And I used to tell myself like, oh, you know what? I can't accept money for this because this is not me. And what I didn't realize was unconsciously, I was telling myself I don't value myself. Even if, not even if, I know I am a channel for what's coming through me for that person, for whoever I'm working with, I'm still the vehicle through which that channel is being used. And so not accepting reciprocity of energy for that, which is money, right? Money is energy. If I'm not accepting it, again, I'm not valuing myself. What am I telling the universe? So this is what I'm inviting you to look at. Where in your life are you not valuing yourself? And is that serving you? Is that working for you? And if it doesn't make you feel good, if you feel terrible and you're like, I feel so drained, I don't feel good, then it's time to shift that. Goodness, this is turning out to be a super long episode. I'm literally going with the flow, so bear with me. A few more things and then we're going to wrap up. So valuing yourself, your self-worth is very important. Charge what you are worth. And even if you have a job, look for a job that's going to really value you. And it starts with valuing yourself and asking for what you bring into the world. Your vehicle matters, 100% matters. And also, I know for a fact that when you use money for good purpose, for why you are on this planet, it's going to come back multifold. That's just it. And that brings me to the fifth and final point fifth step of how you can attract massive amounts of wealth, which is, I'm going to use this term and you can look it up. It's ancient Incan, I-N-C-A-N, Incan. It's called Aini. Aini. I learned this from my coach, Jim, and I learned it from him. Aini is the law of reciprocity. Law of reciprocity is giving and receiving, right? And when you just take and take and take, and in this world, goodness, there are so many takers. We're all takers to most extent. I mean, look at how we're abusing our planet, right? Our own Mother Earth, we abuse the heck out of her. And most people are takers. When you take, again, the same hose analogy. You take. At some point, you're like, it's going to get cut off at some point. And you're not hurting anyone when you don't give back, but you're hurting yourself. Because it's the laws of the universe. The universe does not, the universe has no mercy in that sense. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It just is. It's whatever you put out comes back. And there are so many takers out there, like, gimme. What can I get for free? What can I do? How can I get the best from this situation? Nothing wrong with that, but are you giving back? How are you giving back? A long time ago, this was very, very long time ago, I used to have a therapy client, a long time ago. This was really years, like 10, 15 years ago. And this was a time where I was like, I'm doing work for the divine, so I can't accept money. So it's okay if I don't get paid, whatever. So this client of mine, and he's a very amazing person. I really enjoyed working with him, and we worked together for a long, and he had his own business. His business wasn't doing well, so he couldn't pay me. So the tab kept building up. And it was okay. It was fine. It was my thing too. I never said anything. And again, because I didn't value myself, I was like, you know what? It's okay. I really enjoy doing this work with him. And he's making such good progress. So I'm going to let it be. And then at one point it struck me. I mean, then we obviously ended the relationship. He moved on. This was back in California. And when it just struck me recently when I was doing this, when I was planning for this episode, that he was always in debt. He was always struggling for money. And again, it was not about paying me. See, it never affected me because whether he paid me or not, I lived a pretty comfortable life. It was not about that. But he was affecting himself. He was always in debt. He never could make enough. He could never, it was just basic survival. And so it's something to be looked at, isn't it? When you don't give, when you just take, and no judgment on him. This is not about him at all. I'm just using that as an example. So where in your life are you just taking and not giving back? And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be something really small, really small. It can be a thank you card. It can be something to say, I value what someone gave to me. See, there's this balance of giving and receiving, and they have to be in balance. And when it isn't, it causes for that supply to be cut off. And this, I didn't understand this for the longest time. I didn't. I'm a very big giver. I give more than I receive. And this is the work I had to do. It was not about giving. It was about receiving, because that also, when you don't allow yourself to receive, again, it creates an imbalance. So these days, it's like, I place no, in the sense, money is important. Money is a means to an end. It's how I get to do what I do in the world. But beyond that, that's it. That's my attachment to it. That's it. And I need to receive. Right? I need to receive. So this is where I have had to make big shifts in saying, no, I'm not just a giver. I have to receive in order to have that balance. And this is one of the reasons I charge what I charge. And again, it's not that person paying me. It's what is coming through that person for me. And I'm giving back something in return in the process. So I'm inviting you to start noticing that again, where in your life are you a giver or a receiver? How are you? Is that in balance? What does money mean to you? It's not about, for me, like, again, no judgment on anybody. Like, judgment is the lowest form of vibration. I do not judge. I do not judge at all. Maybe I'll do an episode on judgment. And again, like, are you, what does money mean to you? If it means security and it's all about like, okay, how can I feel secure having a house and car and all those things, right? Start looking at that. So that is the 5 steps. So the first step, just to recap, is your emotional state. The second step is your prosperity consciousness. Third step is gratitude. They're not steps, they're like points. The fourth step is self-worth, and the fifth one is INI, law of reciprocity. So my question to you is, see, even these podcast episodes, I'm putting something out there for you, and when you can give back in some form of maybe even writing a review or saying or sharing this, right? This is your way of giving back, and that's what I mean by INI, right? Like, it doesn't have to be in monetary form. It's about reciprocity. And when there is reciprocity, when there's showing of gratitude, it comes back multifold. Trust me, anytime at this point in my life, I give generously. I mean, I'm talking about like giving, giving in terms of giving. What am I trying to say here? So I give 10% of what I make diligently without fail every single month. Sometimes even more than 10%, because you know what? It comes back to me multifold. It always does. Sometimes it comes back even before it leaves my bank account. It's really amazing. Like, try it out. Again, but it's the energy behind it. I have no expectations when I give. Zero expectations. I give because I want to give, and I give to organizations, or I give to people that are creating expansion in the world. I'm very selective, but I do that because I want to do it, and there's no expectation. And so that's it. That's it, guys. This was a long episode, but it's one of my favorite topics at this point to talk about, which is prosperity consciousness and how to raise the vibration, how to raise your prosperity consciousness. It's really beautiful. So with that, I'm going to end this episode, and I invite you, again, if you found value in this, please leave a review, and leave a positive one, by the way, and also share this with your friends and family, because someone is struggling out there with money, even if it's not you. And where you'll find me hanging out is Instagram. So follow me on Instagram at Padma Ali and tag me with your breakthroughs or your thought process, whatever comes up for you as you listen to this episode specifically. And I love hearing from my listeners, and immense gratitude to you. The amount of downloads that have happened in such a short period of time, my heart is just filled with gratitude, because if someone wasn't listening, it makes no sense for me to produce these episodes, does it? So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Next week, stay tuned. We have the amazing guest, Eric Dodds. He's a financial planner from Canyon Ridge Group, and he's going to be talking about the practical aspects of money. All right, my friends, I'll talk to you soon.